I hope everyone have their questions ready. And let me just get my system together here. We're gonna wait a few more minutes, maybe a couple of minutes, to see if anyone else is joining. All right, all right. We're gonna go ahead and get started here. How's everyone doing today?
Great.
Great, great. I hope you all have your questions ready. The market is changing here. I just got off the phone with my builder, and price of lumber has gone up again from last month, and it is getting wild out here. So I want to start out by asking you guys, what have some of you been going through as far as with new construction? What are some of the challenges that you've been having? Someone's in chat. Kim. Okay.
Dana?
Have anyone done any new construction contracts?
Dana,
Yes.
this is Joyce.
Hey, George.
How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How about you?
Great, great. The only challenge I think I've had thus far is that my client was scheduled for the design center and to pick out all of their countertops and the design within the home, and they just told them that they're gonna have to go off memory. Like, they're not letting people come in and choose. They're just putting in the basic, so they weren't able to upgrade. I don't know.
That could be one of the homes. I don't want to name builders, but some of the major hitters out there, builders per se, have homes that they're able to price out because they're not doing any upgrades, and they won't allow the buyers to do any upgrades. You basically have to buy the home as is.
Basically, yes.
Right. So if that is the case, yeah, it's because they are trying to stay away from the homes where the buyers are able to pick out their color selections, and the cost, they're trying to keep their costs down, in other words.
That's what I thought.
Right. You got a lot of builders that are going to what they call a standard home where you can't pick out any upgrades.
Yes.
To keep their costs down and the consumer costs down.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
There's
someone. Okay, go ahead.
There's a message in the chat from Kenneth Watanabe, and he says, "How do you go about finding a builder?"
You have to just look around, and you can ask. I am a good resource for that. I've been dealing with builders for over 20 something years now. And of course, we have several new builders that have come to Georgia because of the Atlanta market. Some of those builders, I'm not very aware of how they do business or what their product is like, but most of the major players, I can help you with that. So if you have any questions in regards to that, feel free to call me and I'll be able to help you find a builder. Someone said, go ahead.
Okay, hi, I'm sorry. This is Michelle. I have a question. I'm just wondering how, I'm working with someone and we put a deposit down back in March, but the builder has been waiting for us to, I guess, to release the house, so we can't even go under contract. But while we're waiting, the price is going up higher and higher and higher. And we're just kind of sitting and waiting. And
Yeah.
just, is that fair?
That's typical right now. The new construction world is not the same anymore. And I'm gonna tell you why you're sitting right now. Can you tell me what phase the home is in? Do you know? Is it framed or? Hello?
I'm sorry. Yes, I thought I was unmuted. Yes, they're in the framing state. The house is already framed, but
Okay.
they're waiting. They said they're waiting on the builders to release the homes for contract, and that's
Okay.
been 2 months.
So the house has been
But
framed
they
for
want
2 months. You're going in and out. But I'm gonna go ahead and elaborate on what I think you're experiencing.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, you're gonna come by homes that have been framed, but because of the cost of supplies and demand is going up so rapidly, the builders are waiting to see. Well, they still have things on order, first of all, because if it's at the framing process, you've got your sheetrock has already been ordered, you got your mechanicals that has already been ordered, but they're waiting on their final invoices. And though depending on what the invoices come back at, they're going to give that cost to the buyer. You can order your, here's the thing, this is what builders are having a hard time with. When they order materials, and it's just like the builders, we can give you a price today, but depending on where they're ordering their supplies from, and when those supplies reach that distribution center, what that distribution has to pay for those supplies, then they carry that cost over to the builders. So you can't get anything in concrete or immediate price anymore. I typically tell all of my buyers, whatever price that I price out the home for today is not etched in stone. We do have a clause in our contract, an escalation clause on pricing, because the builders cannot control what the economy is doing. A lot of small builders have packed up and left. They cannot afford to do business anymore. You have a lot of court cases going on right now with builders and buyers because the builders cannot afford to build a house out now. So it's buyers beware. That's why we inform the buyers going in. This is not going to be your final cost. We can only price it out today based on what the market is telling us today it costs. But by the time we order your supplies and we receive the supplies, we don't know what the price is going to be, because all material goods are taking some time to get those supplies in the United States. We're not getting supplies rapidly before the pandemic, like we were used to getting the supplies. Everything is on hold. So they can't really price it until the distributors actually receive the supplies, and they can price it out, then invoice the builders, and then builders going to carry that cost over to the buyers.
Okay, thank you.
And you're getting ready to see another price increase. And Michelle, let me know how your transaction go, because I really don't think that's going to be your final sales price.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Anyone else want to share what they're experiencing? Looks like somebody else trying to, hold on a second here. Okay, so what I suggest to you guys when you're speaking with your buyers, you just got to be as transparent as you possibly can. If you're working with new construction, make sure before you take your buyers to the communities, because you don't want them to get their hopes up high, have a long talk with the on-site agents and just find out how their process is going. Ask all the pertinent questions that you need to ask. And some of those questions are, here's one question you want to make sure you ask. Over the past 90 days, how many increases that you guys have incurred? Because you know you're going to incur more increases. So you want to make sure that your buyer know going in, there's going to be an increase. You have builders that are sitting on the contracts. Even if you write a contract today, that builder may or may not sign that contract today because he already knows that he's getting ready to experience inflation in lumber and other materials. So he's not going to put himself out there on the line by signing that contract immediately until he know what the numbers are looking like. So he may kick that offer back to you and say, hey, let's go ahead, increase the price by this. And if they don't have an escalation clause, you make sure that you can get them to commit, which I doubt it, but make sure if they do not have an escalation clause in the contract, see if they can commit to that price. But I can tell you right now, most builders cannot commit. And if they say that they can commit, you need to make sure, and you probably want to get with Steve Dickens, our broker, to see what you can have them to put in the contract to protect your buyer. Because a lot of buyers that was under contract 6 months ago, 8 months ago, some buyers understand the market, some don't. And it's very important that we help our buyers to understand what's going on in the market. If they cancel out the contract, you're going to have the same situation happen if you go across the street to the other builder. Depending on that buyer's timeline in which they need to be settled and in their home, that timeline may weigh out what they're willing to pay. A lot of buyers are saying, I'm tired of looking, so whatever I have to pay, that's what I have to pay. I've sold my house, I'm in an apartment, and I want to get out of that apartment. So, Mr. Builder, whatever the cost is, I'm willing to pay it. Buyers are getting worn out. And I can tell you, a lot of builders they're out here and they know that this is happening. But the smaller builders are the ones that are really trying not to raise their prices, but they have no choice. The bigger builders, they can leverage a little bit. But a lot of the smaller ones, they cannot afford to. So you just got to educate your buyers, make sure they have enough money in their bank accounts to make up for the difference. And I can tell you another thing that you're seeing out here. If a piece of inventory comes back on the market for whatever reason, the previous buyer financing may have fallen through the cracks. A lot of builders are now taking multiple offers. You didn't used to hear that in the new construction game, but it's there now. It's there. So you want to make sure that you educate your buyers on this. If the appraisal does not come in value, your buyers are going to be responsible for the difference. So if that house is undervalued, a lot of the sellers, just like you said in the real estate game, and in the resale game, it's in the new construction game as well. We have a clause in our contract because most of our buyers, I'm more of a custom builder. Most of our buyers want to pick out their own selections, and we allow them to do that. If they pick out $100,000 in upgrades, they have to pay for that up front. We don't allow them to finance that in their contract. And it's non-refundable. Now, the only way that they're able to get their monies back, as I mentioned, we do have an escalation clause. That escalation clause is a 4% cap. I just got off a meeting right before the class. Now I'm having to raise that escalation clause to 10%. So, and I'm having to go back to buyers that are already under contract to enforce this 10%. So when I get off the phone with you guys, I will be on the phone with the buyers. And some of you guys may say, oh my God, this is not fair. Builders are not going to take the loss. They cannot afford to take the loss. I was fighting my builder to the, we were going at it every day just about when this first started. But I had to see for myself. And once I saw his numbers and saw his hard cost on what it costs to build each floor plan, some of his homes, he was in the red, over $100,000. I understand. So he have to pass that cost on to the consumer. He can't afford to build a house that he's not going to enjoy. The consumer is going to enjoy it, so they have to pay for it. It's a total different world out here right now. Thank God the market is still moving though. You're going to have buyers that still want to buy because they know that it's not going to get any better. So we need to suck it up. This is the new way of real estate, and let's go ahead and purchase our home while we can. Because a lot of people are going to be, they won't be able to purchase a home. They're going to be out of the market, priced out. So what are some of the other challenges you guys are going through out there? No other challenges? Okay, someone, Rita just asked, great information. You mentioned appraisal gap, price increases, etc. What top 5 things would you emphasize with buyers interested in new construction? Well, one of the things I would say, they don't have to go through the bidding process. That's a frustrating task in itself. And typically they still have the opportunity to choose what they want in their home. It's a new home, so there's still advantages to purchasing new construction. You can pick out the ideal floor plans, ideal lot, and you're not having to settle and still pay, you know, with these multiple offers, you're paying for homes that are 10, 15 years old that you can still pay for new construction. I mean, you're paying $400,000-$500,000 for homes that are less than square footage. You're still settling, when you can go ahead and say, you know what, I may have to pay a little bit more money over here, but it's what I want. I still get to pick and choose what I want in my home, and it's new construction. Some of the other things I would say is that, once again, make sure they have, well, I can tell you in my price point, most of my buyers, they have sold a home anyway. So this is not their first home. So most of your buyers are going to have monies in their bank account from the sale of their previous home or their current home. So they have a little monies to play with, but just make sure they understand that they may have to go into those funds to purchase their new home. Because the cost of supply and demand is not just lumber, it's not just sheetrock. It's down to your doorknobs, your light switches. I mean, I cannot begin to tell you how the prices are increasing on every material that it takes to build a home from ground up. So and another thing, just making sure your buyer is educated. Tell them, pay attention to what's going on in the market. Send them to the website. It's out there. It's out there about what the market is doing. I can't stress that enough, because if your buyer don't understand, it's not going to be a happy process for them in buying their home. So we have to make sure we paint that picture for them. Build a rapport with the on-site agents. You have to do that. Because if inventory comes back on the market, that on-site agent is going to give you a call if they have a rapport with you. That way, whatever price they give you at that moment when they call you, that's what it is. You're closing in less than 45 days. That's what your price is going to be. So it's all about relationships. Just build your relationship with your on-site agents. And don't be afraid to ask those questions, because you have to protect your buyer. And look for the escalation clauses in the contracts, because they're there. Some builders won't even allow you to get out of the contracts. At least what my builder will do, although we have a cap, once he gets the final hard cost on that home, when he's completed construction, if he have exceeded that cap, the buyer still have the first right of refusal to purchase that home, if the buyer choose to do so. But if the buyer do not want to move forward with the purchase, we give them all of their monies back plus $250. And that $250 is saying, you're releasing us from any liabilities. You're not taking us to court or anything. So you're going to find most builders that will give them an extra $250 on top of what they invested. But make sure you look for the escalation clauses. Can someone tell me, from their experience in the resale market, how many offers are you writing with a buyer? Because of, so many multiple offers going in. How many offers are you finding yourself preparing for that one buyer on an average?
About 3 or 4 a month.
So 3 or 4 offers on that one buyer.
Mm-hmm.
That's not bad.
That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all. Someone put in the chat box 6 to 8 offers. Yeah, that's still pretty good because I'm hearing some things like 20 offers.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, in the double digits. Yeah, that's a lot of work and time into that buyer. But we have to do what we have to do. So if you can imagine putting in 20 offers on the resale side of things, that's another reason why you want to consider new construction.
That's why I have most of mine in new construction.
There you go. So I'm sure, Joyce, you educate your clients very
Oh,
well.
I'm definitely about to do it today. Thank you for that information. Thank you.
Oh yeah, it's very important because a lot of agents, on-site agents, now my on-site agents wouldn't do this, but a lot of agents out there, if you don't ask the question, they're not going to give it to you. They're not going to be transparent like I express to my agents, because here's my thing. I don't want to waste that buyer's and that buyer's agent time, nor my time. Let's be as transparent as we possibly can so that they will understand before they sign the contract going in that we check off all the boxes. And if they say no, we choose not to do business with you, I get it. But I know when they go across the street or down the street, they're going to go through the same things. And when they come back to me, that lot is gone. We experience it all the time. Yeah, do we get buyers that come and leave? Yes, we do. And they come right back. So it's a matter of how hard as a realtor that we want to work for our buyers. But key thing is make sure they are aware what's going on in the industry and that the builder is not going to build a house for them and take a loss. It just doesn't make sense. And if you keep pounding that into their heads, they understand. They will understand. Anyone else want to share what they have experienced?
I just have a question for, do you have any advice for brand new agents? Because I see quite a few on. Brand new agents and their first time at a new construction community.
Your first time at basically everything that I've given them, shared with them today. I'm praying that they're writing this down. This is good information that you really need to know. The information that I'm giving you is not just for experienced agents, it's for agents, period. If you have a new buyer, they want new construction, you need to ask all the questions that I've given you and build that rapport with that on-site agent. And transparency is what it's about. Don't be afraid to ask. If they have preferred lenders to kind of sort of help your buyer out, make sure your buyer go with their preferred lender, because that's going to help them with their closing costs. Most builders give the buyers special incentives for using their preferred lenders. And I know, I get it. You want to have that buyer pre-qualified before you even take them out. But once again, go ahead and educate your buyer. If you're going new construction, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, I know we've gone through one of my lenders that I work with on a daily basis. However, now that you've told me you want to go new construction, most likely, in order to get the incentives or to get any assistance with your closing costs, the on-site agents are going to talk to you about their preferred lenders. And I will tell you, it will behoove of you to go ahead, send that buyer through the preferred lender, because if anything happens in the process of that transaction, you did everything that was required of you to protect your buyer. You went through the preferred lender. If that deal falls apart for whatever reason, your buyer chances of getting their money back is great. But if they're using an outside lender, it's going to cost them dearly. Make sure the buyer understands the expectation as far as the timeline in which the home is going to be completed. Homes typically can be built, some builders can build a home in 4 to 5 months. That's a basement. But that was before the market took a turn. When good old COVID came around, that slowed everything down. Now it's taking some builders up to a year to build a home. So make sure their expectations, they understand that it may take some time than what they anticipated. Go ahead and get that 12-month lease on that apartment, or find a relative to live with, because it's going to take some time. And yes, are you going to experience price increases during that time? Most definitely. Seeing here, let's see. Okay. Anyone else have any questions? I'm trying to think, since Deanna said most of you guys are new, a few of you are not new, but I'm just trying to give you the information that you're going to need, and I've given you most of it. Trying to think of anything else that you're going to need. You want to talk about multiple offers if you want to win a bid. Any of you guys still doing your appraisal contingencies in your offers? Okay, I got one person that said yes. And this person, I remember her saying 3 to 4 offers, so that means she's doing pretty good in getting her offers accepted. But I can tell you, I just dealt with a client and I wrote 3 offers for that client, and I was upset because I have never had to write 3 offers for a client. But I had to take my appraisal contingency out. And as soon as I did that, we won the bid on a property. So because they were bidding over anyways, why would we need appraisal contingency? They already bid it over the list price. We shortened the due diligence period from 7 to 4 days. So these are some of the tips that you may want to consider when you're up against multiple offers. Another thing to make sure, if your client wants to bid on a property and they're going over that list price, make sure your client have the difference in their bank account, because a lot of the agents are not accepting offers that are over the list price unless you can prove that they have the monies in their account. Because if the house does not appraise, then we want to make sure you have the difference to pay, and you have proof of funds showing that you have the ability to pay it.
So are you sending in the proof of funds with the rest of the information?
I don't do that, but I do put that in my special tips.
Okay.
If they
Okay.
need it, we are willing to present that within 24 hours of the binding agreement.
Okay. Good to know.
And don't forget to do a market analysis for your buyers. Because you see a home listed out there at a sales price that they feel that they could sell their home for, still doesn't mean that it's going to appraise. So if you're going to do a bid that's over the list price, it will help you to decide on how much over you should bid to save your client for having to come out of pocket with so much more funds. You got some people bidding $20,000, $25,000, some bidding $30,000 over the list price. But I wouldn't say that you will have to bid that, because a lot of times the listing agent, they know, and they don't want to take a chance either if the appraisal value doesn't come in, especially if it's way out of line with the list price. Something like 10, 20,000, yeah, I would say that's the norm right now. But anything that's 30, 40, 50,000, and that seller say, I want to go with this one, although it's $50,000 over, yeah, the listing agent is going to ask you to show proof that you can pay it. And they already know that it's not going to come in. And guess what? You're going to be paying that money. So it's always best to do an analysis yourself before you submit your offer. That's one of the basic things, and don't stray away from it. Although it's a market where you're getting multiple bidding on homes, still try to keep it to the point where you're protecting your client. All right, any more questions? Can anybody think of something on new construction? So I want to make sure you guys have all you need. And once again, if you have any questions, make sure that you contact me. I think Deanna put my phone number in the chat. I can help you out there. Yes, she did. Hello, Dana. Dana, I'm going to call on you. Any new construction transactions you've done recently? Can you share some of the challenges that you've had?
I don't have much of a voice, but yeah, I had to learn about spec homes in this last deal where the builder wasn't able to give the buyer, the new buyer, information as to what the previous buyer has selected in their with the design center. I didn't understand why they couldn't share that with the new buyer. Maybe you can give me some insight on that.
I don't understand that either, because I share my information. I have no problems in sharing, because what happens is we're not going to deviate from the previous color selections unless it's a spec home that the builder is speccing out himself. But 9 times out of 10, depending on where that home is, has it been framed or anything yet, Dana?
Yes, it was framed and everything. All the selections were made. She found out she had a couple of good things, but she was frustrated not knowing the color of the tile, carpet, and paint. They wouldn't tell her.
I don't know why some builders do that, but we give that information out.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, we give that out maybe not at the time of contract, but as soon as conveniently possible, because we want the buyers to know.
Okay.
So we try to give it out.
I was wondering if they just knew it and didn't want to tell the buyer in hopes that it wouldn't, you know, I guess,
Sway them not to buy.
pay them to not buy, or either start a conversation about changing whatever the selection already was.
Well, that could be it.
Okay.
Because they will have to go back and change some things. Typically, once again, once the colors have been selected, we won't let you change them, but we will show you what the colors are.
Oh, that's what I thought they could done, but they sure wouldn't. That's good to know.
I think I know who you're talking about, but we'll talk about that.
In Conyers.
I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
When you said it, I already do.
Okay. I was like,
Yeah. But I don't understand why they do that.
also, I do have another question, Dana.
Mhm.
On both of my new constructions that I have, they told the buyer that and I'm sorry, y'all, I'm talking like that. I just had surgery. That the buyer, I mean, that they couldn't take down additional trees or add a parking pad as a builder, but as the owner, they would be privy to that option, subject to HOA approval only. I wanted to have a conversation about the builder's limits and if the buyer post closing had any difficulty, pulling down the trees or adding a parking pad as they were told.
Well, it depends on the builder. My builder will do it for a fee, of course. Most builders go by the county. The county states that so many trees can come down or what have you, but they cannot stop you from taking down as many trees as you like, because guess what? You got to pay to get the other trees taken down anyways.
Okay.
However, you're supposed to let the county know about that before you do it. And that's in every county. And they're going to charge you. So that's money for the county. However, depending on the builder, if it's a production builder, no, they're not going to deviate from that. More of your high-end builders, your custom builders, they will do it. Now, is this a production builder? You don't have to call the name, but.
Oh, yeah. And they're two different builders, but yeah, it's a production, and they both pretty much said the same thing, that they can't do it, but the buyer could do it.
The buyer can, yeah. So my thing of it is, think about this. If the buyer can do it, why can't you not do it?
Yeah.
It can be done. It's because they're production, and when you have a production builder opposed to a custom builder, the contractors, everything is repetition to them, and they don't like to deviate from repetition. So they like to keep things going, moving fast, getting your house built. They don't have time to customize your buyer's lot, because that's not what they do. So, any more questions?
I have a custom home that'll be closing in a few weeks too, another new construction. I'm excited about that one.
Well, congratulations.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take?
A year.
Yeah.
Over a year.
We just had that conversation before you got on.
Mm-hmm.
It's taking that time because of the delay in supplies.
Yeah.
So also, Dana, you missed this. We're getting ready to have another price increase. I was on the phone with my builder prior to this class. Lumber went up again. So you're going to see builders going up on pricing again. Now you have a lot of these big builders, they're like sitting ducks right now. A lot of the agents are at home.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying they're waiting on permits.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Now, did y'all talk about what happened with what's that? Is it Sunrise Builders?
Where the lady built the home and the builder went up on the price. Is that the one you're talking about?
Cancel the contracts and raise the prices.
Well, I'm sure the builder gave her first right of refusal. Yes, we did have a conversation on that. The builders would give that particular buyer first right of refusal.
Yeah.
But the builder cannot take a loss. Right. They just can't. They have to pass that cost on to the buyer.
And unfortunately, I had a conversation with my buyer on one of those new constructions and told her that building her same model now for over 500,000. And she got mad and wanted to terminate for something. I said, it's not the time to be a diva, baby, because these prices are going up.
They are going up. And what she failed to realize, the homes that are going up that's costing more than the one that she is
Yeah.
closing on, instant equity. So it's kind of a wash. They're
Yeah,
gonna get the monies back. You may have to come out of your bank account today to get in there. But the same thing that happened to you as a buyer is happening to the future buyers that are buying in that neighborhood.
yeah,
So you're getting your money back in equity. So
Yeah.
that's another way to look at it, guys. If you want to explain it that way to your buyer. Any more questions? I hope that the information that I'm sharing with you today will help you out. I'm sure that there are going to be other things to come up, and it may be something that we didn't touch on today. And if it is something that, something that comes up, please make sure you call me, because I learn from you all as well.
that's right.
Hey, Dana, is this call recorded?
Well, it said, yeah. Deanna's shaking her head. Yes, we're being recorded.
Okay.
Well, all right, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I enjoyed you guys today, your questions that you asked. And I look forward to the next one. I'm sure you're going to have more questions the next go around, because the market is not changing anytime soon.
Nope, where can we go to view this recording? Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're going to see a lot of more builders falling by the wayside, unfortunately.
Yeah. You're talking about like it did years ago when they just couldn't afford to stay in the business.
Couldn't afford to stay in the business. Absolutely. You got a lot of cases, court cases going on right now. Builders cannot afford to finish the houses.
Wow.
Oh yeah, you got a few out there. The builder just cannot afford to finish the construction. So,
Well, shoot, if that being said, it's probably a whole lot of investors out there that can't afford to finish their flips.
there you go. Yeah,
It does.
I'm
trickle
seeing.
down.
I've seen a few flips just sitting still.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you, Dana.
All right. Okay, guys. If you don't have any more questions, I enjoyed you, and you have my phone number if you need me. Please feel free to reach out to me. Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Have a good day.
All right. Bye-bye.